Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Lions Den Podcast, episode 30. I mean, we're in a different mood today compared to last Monday, where everything was just against us. Like, you know, two really difficult games. The whole world was against us, but hey, we recovered very well, bouncing back a win against Juarez. So we are here to talk everything about Club Leon English, what happened in that game. Louis was there talking about Chico's Tacos and just everything that happened at that stadium last night. So he is fresh back from that game. So, Carlos and Louis, how are we feeling tonight?
Much better.
Well, I'm just glad I remember the time change, and we're going on now and not an hour from now, and I'm here. It was a close call. I almost didn't make it, guys. Yeah.
Yeah, much better this week.
We missed you last week.
Oh, I was on the chat.
From a different aspect, but yes. So we're here. Hopefully, we'll get Javier and Jose to jump on sometime. Apparently, this time change has affected some of us. I know I definitely feel very affected waking up this morning, but nonetheless, we're here to just talk about everything Colonial English because we're in a way better mood. I mean, I guess we did not expect what happened second half, but hey, we're very stoked and we're kind of taking it, one step at a time, recovering kind of our dignity a little bit, per se. So right before we start getting into kind of lineups and everything, Carlos, do you have the team news prior to this game?
Yep. So sadly, guys, last week William Yarbrough, El Güero de Oro, he had to leave. He announced that he was leaving the team. Fortunately for us, I guess fortunately, he's leaving on loan for 1 year. He's going to Colorado. So he's going to be up there with Marcelo Balboa. So hopefully we might get him on someday. Also, Joel Campbell and Yaro Moreno both came back from injuries after being out for about a month. Both played a great game last night. We'll get more into that later. And then also, Leo Ramos unfortunately suffered a grade 3 adductor strain. So he's going to be out for about 3 to 4 months. Tough loss, but I think we have the right replacement for him.
Definitely. Well, getting into the lineup, we had a couple of variations. We had Cota, we had Navarrito, Nacho Gonzalez, return of him to a starting lineup, Barreiro, Tecillo, we had Montes Aquino, Mena, Meneses, Jairo, and the youngster Armando Leon. What did you guys think about the lineup?
It was strange to see that mix of names at first, but I have to say I didn't see it as wacky experimentation, anything like anywhere close to what we've seen in the past with weird lineups. I think it made sense. Also, we talk about the game experience more in a bit, but it was cold and rainy up there, guys. It was unpleasant playing conditions. So I see Nacho Gonzalez in there, and that means, look, Nacho, you've seen it all. You've been through everything. You've played through every kind of situation that you can possibly imagine. I mean, we've made this long trip to this place we're not that comfortable playing. We don't come here that often. We haven't had the opportunity to play here that much. It's cold. It's rainy. I feel like if I put you out there, you're not going to be fazed by any of it. And I think that's what that was. And I think it paid off, to be quite honest with you. I mean, aside from giving up the first goal on a set piece that, how many times have we said, a set piece that could have been a little bit better defended?
Yep.
I mean, I think the back line filled us, more with more confidence than it had in recent matches, especially considering how dangerous of an attacking team Juarez can be, which I think is fair to say that they are.
Mm-hmm.
I liked Aquino at the single pivot. I at first it was like, No, if you have Cafecito healthy, why aren't you using him? He's one of the best maybe the best holding midfielder we have.
Mhm.
But he hasn't had a great couple of games. I mean, ever since holding off Vela masterfully in the first leg of Conca Champions, he hasn't looked that great since then. I think leaving him out was an experiment that also paid off. Holding possession was not our issue, even when we didn't look great last night. At certain points through the first half, especially holding possession was never the problem. So I think that experiment paid off very well. And then, of course, to talk about Armando Leon, I mean, first of all, what better last name for someone to have playing for our club? But that was like, really? You're throwing the Cachorrito out there as to start,
Yeah.
to make his debut as a starter and play and go and go. Was he subbed off? I think he was subbed off at the very, very end. No, but
Yeah.
he played almost. I mean, he played until the game was decided, and of course, he had a major impact in making the game decided. But putting him in as a starter to make his debut, I was like, that's bold. That's kind of ballsy, but obviously it paid off. So I mean, I think it's easy to say in hindsight. Hindsight's 2020. Well, obviously these experiments paid off, but we could have easily been at the beginning. Oh, this is Ambris doing some of his kooky things again. What's he doing? Why is he messing with what's working when he has all these guys healthy?
Yeah.
Like, it could have been easy to put Sosa in there, starting at punta, even though he's not. I don't think he's best as a center forward. But he's certainly an experienced option there. It would have been easy to say these are cool. These are just another round of kooky experiments. He's giving away the match. What's he doing? But honestly, I didn't feel that way this time. I didn't get that vibe. I could kind of see what he was going for, and to his credit, it really ended up, not at first, but it ended up paying off in a way that none of us could have ever expected.
Yeah, definitely. I think especially just the first half, and I know we were all messaging on the group chat how frustrating that first half was. Like, as soon as the first goal came in, I was like, oh my God, no, it's going to be same story again. And it was just frustrating because in the last attacking third, it was where they had problems. They would not be able to connect, and they would not be able to at least attempt to finish a play. It was just, as soon as they stepped on the last third, it was just like back and back and back.
Yeah, it was just. Now, we've criticized them for not taking the shot when they've had the opportunity to do so. Yesterday, I think in the first half they went maybe too far the other way with it. They got too hasty. And I can understand maybe from Hierro had a chance to finish a lot of plays. It seemed like when it came to be shooting time, the ball was at his feet, and I can understand him being a little over eager, having missed so many games and getting his chance to come back. And I think, I mean, aside from all those balonazos, for all the times he shot clear over the crossbar, I think he did create a lot of danger. He made the Juarez defense be on their heels. He has a lot of creativity on those from the outside back position that just no one else on the squad even comes close to replicating, and it was definitely noticeable there at the beginning. So I think, it was frustrating. I was watching there live in person in the cold and the rain. My socks were getting steadily wetter. I didn't really have the right jacket for the situation. I went to go to an S-Mart and try to find a poncho, but I couldn't find one. I had to go with what I had. I only traveled with a backpack. It was really quite unpleasant, just from the elements standpoint, sitting there watching it. But beyond all that, we're watching, like, how frustrating is this? They're obviously proponiendo, but they just don't have any precision in the final third. Like, they're way, you can understand, but it's just like it didn't look like they were going to turn it around. And then slowly they started to get to be able to play their game, and it was a slow build. But once they got it going, it was like, where did this come from? This is exactly what this is the ideal everything that we couldn't have possibly imagined would happen. Like we were on here predicting draws. You know,
Yeah.
we were on here. I mean, look, just before get you guys perspective, just we knew that given the way our team has played over the past 14 months, that the law of averages would even itself out. We have been the most consistent club, really, in Mexican football over the last 14 months.
Yeah.
And sooner or later, that would have to start to we would have to start, the law of averages dictates we would have to start to look like that club again. But you didn't know, so you knew that there was going to be a result that was started to turn things around. We didn't know if it would be today, and we didn't know how it would come. We were all very guarded about our prediction. We're like, no, I think it's going to be either a draw or best case scenario, a close win, but more likely a draw. We go up there on not ideal circumstances in any way, but we get out of there with the point, and we can build on that. You know, I was totally, when we were trailing 1-0 at the half. Under those conditions, I was like Javier posted that he was like, or not posted, he wrote to us, I at least hope they just tie the game, you know? And I was like, I was feeling that way too. We can build on that. And then the floodgates opened, and I couldn't, none of us could have expected any of that. And now, I mean, it was against the Juarez team, full of confidence, playing well, rested. They didn't play their first choice lineup against Monterrey in the Copa semifinal, and they still got a dominating result.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a team that had been playing well, and their fans were as cocky and confident as we were going up to Los Angeles. You know, and they thought it was going to be easy. They thought they were going to get the result. They thought they were going to do everything they needed to do, and the floodgates just opened, and we got out of there with a result that better than anything in my wildest dreams. I think probably your guys as well. And now it's not just like, no, we didn't get a little result that we can build on and slowly get back to where we want to be. No, we announced ourselves as still being a serious contender in the league in spite of having a bad week.
Definitely.
And so, I mean, how is it? It's impossible not to feel really just quite sensational about what we saw.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Javier and Jose, thank you for
Agreed.
joining us.
Hey. Hey,
So-
guys.
How's it going, Javier? Jose?
Good.
Okay.
Talk
Happy,
to us
happy.
about how you guys felt from difference from first to second half, which, you know, I was talking, me and Lou were having this conversation, how, you know, first goal came in, we were like, oh no, not this again. But like Louis stated, that definitely just switch like out of the blue. Like I did not expect it, and none of us did. Like Louis said, we all predicted a draw. I remember Jose predicted a barely 1-0, and we come out with a 4-1, and it's kind of like, well, where was this team versus LA? Where was this team? You know, the inspiration kind of came back to life. So what are y'all's thoughts?
Oof. Well, like everyone, I think first half, I didn't understand the lineup. I was confused just because I wasn't expecting it. But at the same time, the way the first goal came to be for Juarez, it was very disappointing because I thought, you know, having Barreiro and Nacho, they're not the fastest defenders in the world. So I was kind of like, esto huele a goleada. But the second half, like I said, I was not expecting. I don't think, like Louis said, and I think no one was expecting it. And I think, like I tweeted about the game, I think, wow, que diferencia hace Campbell. Right off the bat, he came in and he man of the match, and he didn't even play 10 minutes. And I think, you know, those are the kind of things that I was kind of hoping Ambriz would his tactic would be against LAFC, which was go for the win. I think the second half was exactly how we wanted Leon to play against LAFC, the way we like Ambriz to play. And of course, I think also it's worth mentioning that against LAFC and Chivas, we did not have Yairo, we did not have Campbell. I think that is significant enough why we lost the way we did. But yes, second half was not even in my wildest dreams. And I know I said 1-1, but in my heart, I did think we were going to win.
Come on.
In my heart,
evidence. You can't.
let
You can't
let the
go
record
back.
show. Let the record show that I, in my heart of hearts, I said, no, you're right. I was expecting a draw, honestly, because of course the way Juarez was playing, that's not an easy team. I mean, they're playing really well, so of course it sends a message to the rest of the teams that yes, Leo had the worst week in like the last 14 months, and it did cause a lot of at least in me, a lot of doubts because it's. I mean, it wasn't even a. It's a bad week, but we also lost a very important game in the Champions League. So that's an elimination, and that's kind of it adds up to the other two that we had last year. And that being said, it was kind of in my mind, like is the Leon that we all love and knew the last 14 months, gonna continue or because even at the start of this tournament there was some doubts, and of course it's that back line that caused it a lot of doubts. I thought maybe a change or something could have worked, but then I just felt, you know what, let's just support Ambris all the way to the end. But of course, it's one of the things I do want to make clear though. I think I love that we beat Juarez. Very important 3 points. It does send a message to the rest of the teams that Leon is a contender, a very serious contender. But I think at the same time, we need to win the championship. There is no me voy a conformar just by making it to another final. We need Ambris to really seal the deal because we've been here before. We've been here before. We've shown that we're the best in the regular tournament. The 12 victories, it's an example of that. But like I think anybody would trade that for a championship, and that's really what we want at the end of the day. Yep. But hey, this 4-1, it felt glorious after a really bad week against LAFC y Chivas, which stung a little more. I don't know why.
Two teams you don't want to lose to under any circumstances.
I don't.
Let alone
Chivas.
Wait. No, all we can do now is take a first step towards that title, though. I think you're right. You're right, Javier. You're absolutely right. But all we can do at not even to Jornada 10 is take the first step towards that glory. And I think, they couldn't have taken a better first step towards that glory than they did. We were all ready to settle for something far less.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jose, how did you live that game?
Well, for one, I didn't think it was gonna be 4-1.
You did predict the win though, and so did Carlos. So congratulations.
That threw me off. Yeah, I don't know. It's to be honest, like, right? We all thought it was gonna end again in a draw again, right up to the 80th minute, and then in comes Cambo, and it all just changed in 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, what seemed like such a even though we had more chances the second half, it's still like even Juarez had chances. So it still seemed like such a close game. Like we couldn't put away the ball even though we had chances. And then I thought, oh, this is gonna end in a draw. Like I don't see this changing in 10 minutes. And then all of a sudden, 10 minutes, 3 goals, and it could have been 4. It said Armando's Leon goal, like his second, he should have been his brace, got called off because he was slightly offside. But man, like, that's just incredible. It's just like Javier says, it sends a shockwave and it makes a statement to all the other teams, because Juarez was not just another team. They were one of the best teams playing right now. So it's like we were just after that week, last week, we were just like, no, this is not gonna work. Like we were expecting a loss, and to get a result like this, it helps. First of all, the players to have more confidence. Like I think Luis was like posting the picture, like how lightly the atmosphere was when they arrived in Leon. Like from the day after the match versus LAFC, like you saw them and they were just
They were bummed out, man.
cabizbajos, yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy, man. Like
Yeah.
this is what soccer is all about. Like one day you're in at the
Yes.
at the lowest, and all of a sudden then all it takes is a win like this to get you back where you are. But yeah,
Yeah.
but just like you said, Javier, though, like this just puts us right where we were at again, maybe.
Mhm.
But if we get to the final and then we wouldn't win, then this doesn't mean anything. Like, but
Yeah.
it's at least we. I'm glad that at least, or like the bad time that we were at, like at least it just lasted at least 2 games. And what better way to turn around the page against Juarez, that it was a team that was playing very very good football. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I think.
but that's so important. I know, again, guys, I know we got to be grounded in our analysis. We gotta make sure we don't get too excited about this, because in the long term it doesn't mean anything. But I think
Mhm.
after that Chivas match, I was gonna say after that Chivas match, I think a lot of the league kind of thought we were done. You know, they thought that was the end of the road for us. They don't have to worry about us anymore. It was cute while it lasted, and us always being in amongst the top of the leaders of the table, and but now it's over. I mean, it ran its course. It's done, and now we're going to be underdogs again every stadium that we visit. And I know the Juarez fans thought that. That's the vibe that I got just being around them before the match even started.
And they
And
were booing
so I
at
think,
Chapito, right?
yeah, they were booing Chapito. I mean, I could go off on a whole rant about that, but yeah, well, I'll go off on a rant about that in a second. But no, I think it's important to win that way. Really important to win that way, to keep the league on notice. No, we are still very much a protagonista. You can't, no matter where the match is played, you're not going to come onto the pitch expecting a win. I mean, you're gonna be in for a dogfight. And
Yeah.
I think it's really important to keep sending that message. Yeah, the Chapito thing. I was hoping the Juarez guy would jump on. I wanted to get his thoughts on that, because
Me too.
for those who don't know, Luis El Chapito Montes was born and raised in Ciudad Juarez. He's a Ciudad Juarez native son, one of the best footballers to come from a city that hasn't given us, to my knowledge, very many great footballers. And they booed him every time he got, not even every time he touched the ball, every time he got near the ball. Well, some hinchas were telling me that it dates back to when he played for Pachuca and he played against Indios, a previous team that no longer exists even in Ciudad Juarez. But a lot of the fans of Bravos now were fans of Indios, and apparently they don't forget a goal celebration that Chapito did as a member of Pachuca. Who knows when this would have been, more than 10 years ago. And they booed him every time he got anywhere near the ball. Their native son, one of the best players who's ever been from their city, and I didn't take kindly to it, to be quite honest with you. I left a sour taste in my mouth. I didn't have anything in particular against Juarez fans or against the city or against their club before that, but after that demolishing, I was like, this is what you guys get.
Yeah, what you get for booing
your native
Chapo
son,
Montes.
the best, at least the best player in recent memory to come from your city, comes here,
Yeah.
who you don't even have I was talking in the chat. There's examples of cities and their native sons who they have a legitimate beef with, but I don't consider this legitimate beef with Chapo Montes.
No.
They were booing him loudly. They did not like him. They would have thrown batteries at him if they could have.
Wow.
You know, and
Yeah,
so I was like, you know what, guys, that really annoyed me, and so I'm
yeah, it was.
I'm glad.
It was weird
I'm glad they
because
got what was coming to them in that sense.
it was so noticeable, because even on television you could just hear it, and los comentaristas were talking about it, and even I was like, but why? Just because I thought they were booing just Leon in general, but no, it was it was every time it was just Montes when he touched the, and I was like, I think no, it's just is it Montes? Didn't make any sense. It reminded me of like when, I don't know, when LAFC fans were saying we booed Vela, like, I mean, that was understandable, but this one didn't make any sense until you said what you said about that prior incident. But it's dumb because it wasn't even the same team. It was Indios. You guys are Bravos.
Yeah.
Why would it even matter? And you're right. Like, I for Leon, I think the only time that's ever happened, like a native son that we probably more, but for sure Cirilo Saucedo. I'm pretty sure, but I don't even think I mean, maybe, I don't know. That's for a reason that's kind of, controversial, whatever. But I don't know about booing Chapo Monte just because he's a professional. What do you want him to do? Like I don't know. It was weird, but I'm glad that we won.
Yeah. Also, different team and a different team that he never had a close relation. He played a few matches for, but never really wanted him. His entire youth career was spent with Pachuca, and I mean, and he became an all-time great. He has no. They have no reason to have such a beef with him. It's not like Elias Hernandez. It's not like even Cirilo Saucedo, even though I don't think nobody cares about Cirilo. Nobody cares about him. But he's just not important enough. But it left a bad taste in my mouth, and I was like, okay, Juarez fans, I didn't have anything against you, but now I do. So I'm really glad. Not really, but it gave me a reason to really feel good about leaving that stadium with the result that we were able to get. Added more fuel to the fire.
I mean, it was pretty obvious that you were happy, Louis. You posted that video on Twitter. You're all dancing. It felt extra happy.
I was just about to say, are we gonna get a freebie of that, of a clip of that, dance, or we gotta get a sponsor first?
Yeah, you never gave the dude a definitive answer if we're budgeted for that or not. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we already have to save some presupuesto for Javier's prediction time segment. So I mean, I don't know if we can also squeeze in the victory dance.
Oh man,
yeah, no, that's nothing. That's nothing new, Javier. I've been doing that ever since. I did that ever since we.
No, I know. I said that it felt extra happy. It looked like you added.
Happy. Yeah. It was definitely extra happy. I mean, there probably hasn't been a happier one since the first one I did, which was when we beat America 3-0 at the Azteca.
Yeah, that's what I said. I noticed you were extra happy in your dance.
For sure. There was a little extra spark in the victory dance last night, for sure. Yeah. Well, definitely. I mean, guys, my socks were wet. My socks. There's no worse feeling in the world.
Yeah,
and if we'd gotten goleados and I had to leave there under those circumstances with wet socks, it just would have been so. To go completely 180 with it and leave so happy, so satisfied with the result. Yeah, that was how is that not going to be an extra happy victory?
The only thing that would have made it better was if Chapito would have scored.
Yeah. That would have been epic.
That would have been like the icing on the cake.
Yeah, I thought he was going to take the penalty shot. I really thought. But at the same time, Mena.
And celebrated.
He would have been awesome. He would have celebrated, too. They would have hated him more.
It's fun, too, because they didn't want to miss a single chance to boo him. They didn't want to miss a single chance to boo him. So even when another player who, like, from a distance kind of looks like him, like Takeshi or Navarro, like anytime
they would boo them?
Well, they started to almost boo, then they realized it wasn't Chapito, so they stopped. Especially Takeshi. From a distance, those guys, when you're watching from a distance, and that stadium does not have good sight lines at all. You're far away from the field, no matter where you sit. Those guys really look similar from far away.
From far away.
Yeah, definitely. Well, don't worry, guys. I'll find out what's the budget, and then we'll get those segments sponsored somehow. We'll figure it out.
Because the victory dance segment is sponsored by so and so. We can't. There's got to be a little exigente about that. I feel.
Yeah. Don't worry. We'll make some T-shirts and fundraise, and then we'll figure it out. But so as we all have been saying, Joy Campbell coming in as a super sub, fantastic. He changed the game so much in so little time. I mean, the way he paused the ball to wait for Mena on that run, it was just fabulous. So
preach. That was amazing.
From Joy Campbell's performance yesterday, are you guys thinking, should he have a starting role, or are we too soon to call that?
Well, who do you take out?
He's coming out of an injury.
That's the problem.
Who do you take out? Well, the thing I thought after the game was, if Rodrigo Fernandez was thinking of buying his card, he really is going to buy his card after that game.
Yeah,
because,
you better. I mean,
better, right?
That's
yes.
I mean, that would be a mistake. I'd say sell everybody else that is worthless and definitely buy Campbell. It was impressive. I think it's one of those, because that's always been a question about Campbell. Is he better starting, or is he better, coming off the bench? Because he does a really great job. Revoluciona the whole game when he comes off the bench. So that's always been the question, right? But it's one thing for sure, though. One thing is for sure. I much rather have Leon, Joven Leon, definitely start for us than Godinez, Ramos, and whoever they're thinking of bringing. Like, give the youth squads, our jóvenes a chance. I've always been saying it. I think that was also the most greatest part of yesterday's victory.
And I think he did very well. He did very well from the beginning and all the way to closing at the end. It kind of puts a perspective like, hey, we do have youngsters that we have been throwing little by little. Each game is like a different youngster. But I think at this point, he has kind of stood out the most, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did more than Godinez has done in like 2 tournaments. So
his entire stint, his entire time with Leon. I mean,
yes.
Armandito did more in one match than Godinez has.
Guys, like, can we appreciate the second finish, that the goal that didn't count? Like, that was cold.
Yeah.
Like guys,
cold-blooded.
Well, I mean, also like he had even in the first half, nothing was going our way, but we had that. Our best chance that we had in the first half was a header that came off of Armandito, like just a soft touch header that
was interesting.
That missed by inches, but would have been impossible for Vasquez Mellado to save. I mean, you look at the game. He's got the build for a Liga MX striker too. I mean, he's tall, but he's quick and he's got long strides. I mean, he's got a great aerial game. I mean, he showed experience on his goal that he did score, holding up his run to stay behind the ball so he could receive the pass in an onside position from mid. I mean, those are things I've seen Leo Ramos, who should be in theory a lot more experienced, screw up his runs. I mean, and like be in an offside position when he could have scored. Like, these are things that are chalked down to experience, and so the kid has experience beyond his years. I think we're going to see some great things from him. Yeah. He could have. It was his first match. He hasn't been scouted. Nobody knows anything about him. And next time he plays, it's not going to be made that easy for him. For sure. But based on what we saw, I mean, he's worthy of being given a second shot and a third shot even. See what more he can do down the road.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
From what I heard and the televised stream, if you guys saw, if you were hearing, I guess I guess he's not like entirely from Alcantara. He's from Pachuca, but then I guess when he was loaned out to Mineros and they were in the Segunda División, not Ascenso, but he actually did pretty well. Like, I forget how many games he played, but he scored 15 goals. And third what would be the third division? But that's, I mean,
Segunda División, the same division where Irapuato's at.
and where they should remain.
Although Irapuato's making a huge investment and bringing back their team even to possibly to Liga MX. I don't think it'll happen for a while, but
Celaya is too. Celaya is that's another big one. I hope so. I don't. Deportivamente, I hate him because I go for Leon, but I would love him to come back because we do need that rivalry to be rebirthed. I would love Irapuato to be back in that's another great possibility. It's interesting. But yeah,
I heard
Armando Leon definitely.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Yeah, have you guys heard about like supposedly they're gonna like aumentar la liga to probably maybe there's gonna be like 3 teams that are gonna buy their place or something in Liga MX.
I heard about it.
I heard too. I mean, I heard two teams want to do that.
Alebrijes.
Yeah, I heard something about
Teams, right?
24 team Liga.
Like Argentina, they do like la Superliga.
Well, yeah.
There.
Yeah, I mean,
that'll be
don't know.
interesting.
I kind of like the schedule the way it is now. The 18 teams, I think it's pretty much perfect the way it is now, to be honest with you. But if they're going to get rid of the descenso because there aren't enough teams who meet the criteria to play in first division, which, you know, for the integrity of the league, that's an important thing. Honestly, I think Juarez Stadium must just barely meet those standards. It seems very, I don't know. It's fine, but it was just like, I don't know. Although
it's
some people out there were telling me,
Irapuato-ish.
yeah, actually,
Irapuato's in a bad.
this guy Ryan, who I met up there, who does some English language media content for FC Juarez, was telling me that on the lot next to the stadium they have now, they're thinking about building a new stadium, which I think I feel like they've got a nice fan base up there, like a good quality fan base. The stadium was pretty much full, even though it was cold and rainy, and it wasn't a big time like classic traditional opponent. I think it could go well for them. But I mean, I want to say that if they can do it, if they can pull it off the way they already are, then I don't see any reason that Celaya, especially Celaya, couldn't also make a pretty good thing going too. Irapuato, they'd have to. That stadium's pretty much in shambles. They'd really have to do some stuff to it to make it.
They got a lot of more work. It's more work for them than Celaya, who's been doing a really good job for a couple of years.
And Celaya has also been always been the last few years anyway, been a steady contender in the Ascenso. Football wise, sporting wise. So yeah, I would say too that they're closer than Irapuato is, but that'd be fun to have Irapuato back and get to play them.
Of course, that has to come back. You know, for the sake of Leon and you know preserving those kind of games that mean a lot to the people of Leon. It's kind of like, I know it's, you know, there was that this whole week was about El Clásico Capitalino and El Clásico de Jalisco, and some guy was saying, and I believe him, that in Guadalajara the you know Atlas Chivas means a lot, maybe more than Nacional. But I know I know how that feels, because Irapuato and León, that's always been a clásico, not because of the teams, because of the cities. It's just the cities don't get along, you know. People, there's so many like it's a big rivalry, right? And that being said, it'll be great for León, because that's what León really needs, and it needs those kind of games to be resurrected. And if not Irapuato, then the next big thing will always be Celaya. You know, unless they bring back Unión de Curtidores, which is like unlikely. Or San Sebastián, which is super unlikely. That's super mega unlikely. Like all these. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea if one day, you know, there'd be like a local league, and because I know back in the 60s and 70s, my dad was telling me there was like all these there was like a league in León, and every city had like a league, you know, and you know, fortunately that's not the reality anymore, but it wouldn't be a bad idea maybe one day, you know, like having a local league in León, or you know, the other day I was thinking about, like, it'll be also a good idea to have like a regional cup, kind of like Brazil and Argentina, how they have El Brasil, not the Brazil, but do you know that, what is it called? Do you know, Louis? Like in Brazil they have like this cup where like the Rio de Janeiro.
The state cups, like the Sao Paulo state and the Rio state, and those cups mean almost as much to the fans as or more
national,
even than the national league.
Yes.
So
Argentina, El Metropolitano.
I don't know if it's just the way Mexico is. I don't know geographic and stuff. I don't know if something like that could ever catch on to the same degree, but it's fun to think about for sure.
For sure, for like El Bajío, they'll be pretty interesting because there's some interesting players now, like Querétaro. Yeah, Bajío Cup, you know, like you have Querétaro. You probably invite like Necaxa because they're Aguascalientes El Bajío too. Celaya for sure, you know.
The thing about Brazil is those regions are so clearly defined. You know, Sao Paulo State, Rio de Janeiro, whatever.
They have a lot of teams, man. They got like 50 teams.
The capital region, and Belo Horizonte, whatever. All these places. These are just such clearly defined places with clearly defined identities, and the football translates really well to that. Here, like, it's a stretch. But is Querétaro part of the Bajío? Is Aguascalientes? Let's invite those guys. You know, just
San Luis. You know, I don't know. It's weird. Yeah, it's a stretch.
Yeah.
It's a stretch. Maybe in 10 years, because I feel like I like to compare La Liga Mexicana with those two leagues in particular, because if you think about it, those leagues have been around for like probably 30 years more than Mexico. So that's why I feel that the rivalries and it's much more. But at the same time, you kind of think about it like where would the rivalries of today be like in 20 years? You know, like where would León stand in 20 years? Like how many championships will León have? I've been saying it to my friends in León. It's just my like that's my thing. I keep saying that. Well, I bet you León's gonna get to 20 championships before America and Chivas, and they laugh at me. But you never know. It's a long way. It's a long way to get to 20 championships. You know, if we think about it in theory, León has 7 in 75 years, 76. I don't know, 76. Yeah. America has they have a good decent amount of championships for like 110 years that they have. And then you got other teams, you know, it kind of feels like maybe in a couple of years, you know, everything's going to be different. You know, I think it's going to be as football grows and as, you know, even in medios de comunicación, it gets bigger and bigger every year, you know, even rating wise, I think. So you never know, man. Maybe in 10 years, there will be like more regional cups. You know, I don't know. I like fantasizing about stuff like that sometimes.
Yeah. No, I mean, all of this stems from thinking about the possibility of Irapuato coming back to a relevant club.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's start with that. You know, that would be very, very exciting for as much for Club León as for anyone else.
Yeah, because there was
that rivalry again.
There was a time when Irapuato, Celaya, and León were in first division, and then there was also a time in the 70s where Unión de Curtidores and León were like some of the best teams in Mexico, you know, and then that was probably like the golden age of Leonian soccer or whatever. But you know, it's kind of like, I don't know. Yeah, you had me thinking about the Irapuato thing. Now I can't stop. Next topic. I could go all.
His mind just keeps going and going and going. No, thank you, Javier, for your insight in some of the history. For everybody that's watching, if you guys want to share your comments, we have a very quiet live chat tonight. Send us your comments. We'll answer any questions. We'll put your comments on the screen. Happy to.
Where you at? In good company.
For real, where is in good company?
What happened to Chango Loco? You know, that guy used to have some good questions.
Someone has to get in contact with him.
I think people are forgetting that about the time change, just like I almost did.
Yeah, the time change.
Yeah. So hopefully they make an appearance. So to wrap up, the final 4-1 scoreboard, unpredictable, but we're all very stoked because we all kind of thought with our mind last week rather than our heart. But I think we got, in the end, a really good result. We saw a lot of great stuff. We saw the return of George Gamble, the return of Jairo, fantastic debut y gol de Armando León, which we hope that he continues his process. There you go. Marco Medina said already responding on the chat. Let's go. Ganó León ayer. Shoo! Like my sound. So right before we go into kind of talking a little bit about what can we expect in the Pumas game, I was reading an article and I saw about, it was relating to Nico Sosa, saying that there was a possibility that he could be loaned out during the summertime, and kind of questioning, well, it's, llegó como like a big, prospect to kind of fill, the shoes. And then obviously we have, Ramos starting, and then Nico Sosa, gets very little minutes, but gets injured. So he's been out and not available to play in, CCL, or his return is looked at to be this weekend. I mean, what are we thinking? Obviously,
Hmm.
Ramos is out 3 to 4 months. Nico Sosa
Wow.
has availability to return this week. Godinez, I mean, he played with a Stu 20, so that's kind of written off. So now it's between, Nico Sosa giving him minutes and Armando Leon. I mean, obviously we have, Ismael Sosa, but I don't think, that would be his best option in that role. So what are we thinking?
Yeah, I didn't know
Well,
about Ramos being out that long.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if we're talking
It's gonna
3 or
be
4
for a
months,
month.
3 or 4 months for Ramos, that's the rest of the season. I mean, we can't. Ramos is done for. I mean, for our championship window, the way that as demanding as we are being on this pod about, we have to. Anything less than winning a title this season is a disappointment. I mean, Leo Ramos is now not going to be a part of it. He's just not going to be part of it. That's a fact of life. He's not going to be part of it. So Nico Sosa, whether or not he's loaned out in the summer,
He's got to step up.
I'm still counting on him for the rest of this tournament. I mean, he's had kind of a bad luck. He didn't have a chance to acoplarse, and then he got hurt. And now Armando Leon has been shown he doesn't have any problem with taking advantage of a big opportunity that he's given. So Nico Sosa might have just largely through bad luck, might not get a serious chance to be a starter or to be a number one option. But I'm still personally, I don't know about you guys, I'm still personally counting on him to give us something. If he's healthy, I'm counting on him to give us something, especially if Ramos is out. Ramos hasn't been great. We've harped on him a little bit of not being the player at any point that he showed that he can be with Lobos Buap. But no, I'm definitely counting on Nico Sosa. Ismael Sosa can be a center forward, but as we mentioned, that's probably not his best position. I think he's he's deadlier on the wings, or even playing behind, as a false nine. But as a true center forward, I don't think that's. I mean, he's an option there in a pinch. We can use him there.
Has Campbell played ever as a forward?
Yeah, I mean he can be a center forward as well. Right? Again, not his best position.
Not his best position.
Well, both those guys, a little bit of a waste of their. It's a waste of some of their skills to tell them to play centrally.
Yeah.
But of course, both can do that in a pinch. I mean, we have options, but dude, true center forward option, maybe it might be Armando Leon for the foreseeable future.
Armando Leon, yeah.
And then maybe when Nico Sosa's training at full speed, I mean, those two can fight it out for starters minutes. I mean, Nico Sosa there might still be enough time left in the tournament for him to show how good he really is. As far as being loaned out, if it looks like he's just not going to be able to fight his way into the squad for the time being, then I could see that being a viable option for him to be loaned out. I'm intrigued by the future he could have with the club for sure, though. It's a shame that he hasn't had an opportunity to show it. Just like we lamented before, imagine having Campbell and Jairo available last week.
Yeah.
In Los Angeles or even prior.
Yeah.
We have all these great options that we can't use. El hubiera no existe. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really
at this point
to talk about it much at this point, but no. The point is, I'm still very curious about what Nico Sosa can bring.
Just to clarify, because he's out for 4 weeks, isn't he? Because from what I can hear, you guys are saying that he's out 4 months.
Who? Sosa or Ramos?
Leo Ramos.
Leo Ramos out for apparently 4 months.
Yeah, I looked up the injury on Google, and it says the recovery time for that injury is like 3 to 4 months. I don't know that. Google's my source. Google's my source. I didn't.
Google's my source.
So yeah.
Hey Google, you should sponsor us.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know the details of about that injury. We've had several guys suffer adductor injuries, have adductor problems. I feel like in the last.
What's going on?
Yeah,
what's going on?
Yeah,
los preparadores físicos.
I thought I saw somewhere that saying that he was out for 4 weeks, but I guess not. I didn't looked up the injury just like Carlos did, but Yeah, I don't
In
know.
any event, Armando Leon's play made us not really even think or worry about it for right
Yeah.
now, because like,
Yeah, Armando Leon, I think he's got the greatest opportunity any player his age could ever get. Like, to be freaking honest, like he's, this is one of the things that I kind of about Macias. When he was playing with Leon and everything, I'm like, I wish we could give an opportunity like that to one of our players that we kind of. At least if we don't own, I don't know if we own Armando Leon. He's probably on loan from Grupo Pachuca. Whatever the case is, it's still part of the Grupo. And that's the thing. I think the players that Leon have, Mena, Meneses, Campbell, Chapo, if we have a player up there, it's a guarantee that they're going to shine, the way Macias shine. And it's probably a guarantee that they're going to be looked at probably with that same price tag, maybe not as much as Macias, but somewhere around there. And maybe you could start thinking about probably selling players like that, because I think that's another way for Leon to make money, because I know one of our problems is that we can bring players con mucho presupuesto, because we don't have it. We don't have the money. It's a reality. We're not.
Exactly. That's exactly what I've been wanting Leon to do, to buy or get young players a chance and then sell them, just like
don't
copy,
loan them like they did to other players.
Yeah, exactly. Copy the good things are the Pachuca does, because that's what they do. They bring up their players or get like young prospects and then sell them for a high price again, and that's how they had money to bring.
Yeah, copy that model. Copy the Pachuca model. That was what I was telling my dad yesterday. I'm like, man, I know we won 4-1, but I'm more happy about this kid, Armando Leon. Like, we got to get behind him, and we got to, I feel like it's a big boost for him in his, self-esteem, maybe, like it's gonna be a healthy competition. I think that he doesn't want to lose being the starting forward, because of course there's always going to be Godinez, no matter if he's going to play with Sub-20 or not, but that's going to be an option for him. But and of course Nico Sosa when he comes back, and that's it. There's no other options that we really have up there. So he's got to really take advantage of this opportunity. And I'm honestly, I am still hoping Nico Sosa can come through. I think he's what I've seen in clips in Uruguay. He's an interesting, really explosive player, the kind of player that I like, as a forward. And I don't know if he's going to be back against Pumas or America, but I think it'll be great, like starting Armando Leon, and then once he's ready to play, bring in Sosa off the bench. But yeah, I think Leon has a couple of games, that are coming up, are important, of course, Pumas and America. It's interesting though, because now America's got to play 2 championships, so they're going to be kind of like, the kind of thing that was stressing me about Leon, about playing 2 tournaments. Like, we don't got 2 starting 11s. As we could see, Ramos getting hurt. Imagine we were still playing 2 tournaments. So I guess losing against LAFC in the long run, honestly, como queremos cerrar el torneo, we want to close it playing well. And if you're playing 2 tournaments, it's just going to be, I think it's going to cause more injuries because of sobrecarga and whatnot. But I think, and also the other question you guys were talking about, there is something weird, right? Like, I think Leon has too many injured players. Of course, some of it's bad luck, but the Ramos thing, it was, I don't know what it was, like, was it during training or during a game, or even the Sosa one? I don't understand how he got injured.
You know what?
It's just
funny though, because if I'm correct, I think this season we got some sort of upgrade in the medical department. I think he was. I forget what club he was working at, like before, but I think it was in South America.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, and we still are having injury problems. Like what's going on? Like, it doesn't seem to get better at all, even though we upgraded the medical department anyway. I don't know.
That's always been Leon's problem. Since I can remember, man. It's one of those things where I don't know what's going on, but if I was freaking president of Leon, I'll definitely invest in that. I'll be investing in our youth squads and investing in the medical field. But yeah, the thing about if Sosa is going to be loaned out at the end of the season. I mean, so what's going to happen to Ramos? Are we going to have to wait for him to get injured? Like it's one of those things that, I mean, we're not even thinking. I don't want to think way far ahead. I want to stick to this tournament, but in the long run, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
what I was trying to
step by step.
Yeah, step by step. But in the long run, at the same time, let's not make the same mistake we made this tournament. I think parte fundamental why we did lose against LAFC is because we did not bring in players, quality players, enough players to play 2 tournaments. I think that was the biggest mistake. I think.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was just gonna say. I think we touched on this a little bit last week. That like you're right. We do not have 2 squads. We'd have enough players to have a healthy rotation if we had everybody available.
Yeah.
But we had so many guys out. Like when you think of a team like Monterrey and Tigres that are, well, Monterrey in theory, not right at the moment. They're just a complete dumpster fire. But
what's going on with them, man?
But Monterrey and Tigres, I mean, these teams that have gone that consistently do well in 2 tournaments at once. They have enough guys to have 2 quality starting 11s in 2 tournaments, also taking into consideration injuries and absences and people being out. You know, we only cover 2 of those 3 bases. You know, I think with everybody healthy, in theory, we would have had enough guys to play 2 tournaments.
Yeah.
But with the injuries, we just don't.
Yeah,
so
we don't.
In that spirit, I think if we weren't going to win the whole thing, meaning the Conca Champions, if we weren't going to win the whole thing, which, you know, even if we gotten past LAFC, there's no guarantee, obviously. If we weren't going to win the whole thing, it's better to be out of it now. So we could just focus on the one tournament. And I think that's interesting you brought up, Javier, that so we're coming up against America, and then shortly thereafter against Cruz Azul, when they're going to be in moments where they're going to have to be seriously thinking about their advancement in that tournament.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to have to be seriously thinking about which players they use. And we could potentially catch them in a moment where they have to use the rotated squad. And America, well, they're already. I can't see Renato Ibarra coming back this season. We don't have to get into his situation. That's for their guys to discuss. We don't care about that here. But like, I mean,
that's their problem.
That's a big loss for them if he can't play. You know, so these are going to be things they're going to be having to think about more than we are. Hopefully, by the time we play them. So again, it's not. It feels terrible. It still stings. It does not feel good. It doesn't feel any better now than it did.
No, of course
when it happened to have been eliminated from Conca Champions. But if we weren't going to win it, you know, maybe if we get the job done in Liga this season, we're going to look back on that possibly as some kind of maybe minuscule blessing in disguise.
Yes, exactly. Something that had to happen in order for maybe Leon to win the. Did you think about it? If Leon was to really take that tournament seriously, it would have probably the final would have been like I think La Jornada 16 would probably have been like in between the 16 and 17, right? And you don't want to close a tournament like that. We already know that La Liguilla is another tournament. It's cool to dominate el torneo regular, but you know, the way you win championships is como cierras el torneo. You know, how do you close the regular season? And like I think Marcelo Balboa touched on this. He said it's much better to have this, you know, this fall, this whatever, these losses now than later. And I think it had to happen like that. LA, because I think that same week when we lost against LAFC and Chivas, you could see it in the face of the players. It was kind of like, damn, we messed up big time. Even Ambriz was like, he was feeling the pressure, which is part of the reason why those people out there are saying, ¿Dónde están los que criticaron? Look, you need to criticar your team. You can't just be like, yeah, we lost against LAFC. We have to do this because otherwise they're not going to feel the pressure of the people, the fans. I think they felt the pressure. I think Ambriz in the second half was like, heck to the no. We're not going to lose against Juarez. Otherwise, this is going to continue to get worse for us. And, you know, I'm glad we won, but like I said, it would mean nothing. It would not mean anything if we don't win the championship. And I think it's a great first step towards that objective. It's a great step. Juarez was not an easy team. We got Pumas coming from a draw with America, and then eventually we got America and then Cruz Azul and then Puebla. We got a couple of teams, you know, like Atlas and Toluca. that I feel kind of like, all right, I think León could get like puede cerrar bien. You know, I think the hard teams are gone.
Well, we have
Tigres
Tigres
is
at
the
the
last
end.
one. Yeah, we have
Yeah.
Tigres at the end, but I'm kind of hoping I see Monterrey situation, and I'm like, it'll be great for this tournament for those regios not to qualify. That would send another message, like, all that money in the world isn't gonna help you at the end of the day, you know.
I hope
they're
That would be
both
great.
currently
Last season, they got lucky
they're both
last season.
they're both currently outside the Liga positions, and let's hope it stays that way. Well, Monterrey, I think they would have to win. They would have to win every single one of their remaining matches, and even then they might not qualify.
Yeah.
And hope for other teams not to win. You know, ya no depende de ellos. And it'll be great if like the final game Tigres has like a must-win game against León. Otherwise, they don't qualify to la Liguilla, and then León.
And León,
because I'm not gonna forget 2019.
León already qualified, doesn't have that much to play for, and still wins. Yeah.
Shout out to Eddie from Dialos 90. I'm sorry for bashing your team. I'm sorry. It's all friendly.
It's all friendly talk. You know, you guys bash us all the time. It's just friendly. We bash each other.
No,
you know, at the end of the day, it's about who is gonna take it all at the end. You know, hey, you know. It is what it is.
We bash each other. Shaggy Martinez is not my favorite player. Just so there's no confusion about that.
Okay, sometimes we lie about things like Lou, what he just said. But I'm pretty sure, like behind closed doors, you know, he's like, dude, don't tell nobody. But Shaggy Martinez, that's my idol, my hero. Look how he plays. Like, calm down, bro. Who do you go for? You know?
No, I just one quick.
No, I'm playing. He hates Shaggy.
One quick side comment about the Ambriz thing and how much he's been criticized. I think this win meant probably more to him than anyone else. I mean, I had the good fortune to be on the same flight back to León as the team, and which happens occasionally. It's always exciting when it does. But I have never. I mean, it's probably my best chance to see them interact and see how they are and see them all in close quarters in when they're on the job, because technically when they're flying, when they're traveling as a team, I mean, they're on the job. But I have never seen neither Ambriz nor the players so loose. I mean, him interacting with them interacting with each other, guys just loose and happy and just content in a way I have not, even when things were going really, really well during the 12-win streak and all that. Like, just the way these guys who don't even seem like they're friends normally, just hanging out, shooting the breeze, having a coffee, all this stuff. The ambiente around the club, from the airport, even when they were to the baggage claim at the El Bajío airport, waiting for other stuff. Just everybody was just so loose and free and in such good spirits in a way I haven't really ever seen in this edition of the team.
That's good because last week we mentioned. I think it was you, Louis, who said, "I really hope he didn't lose the locker room."
Yeah, it was me.
It's really good news.
That's why to see them this way was so striking to me. It was very nice, a very nice thing to see, and I hope it continues. I hope it carries over, because I think team chemistry, with all they've been through in the last couple weeks, hanging on to that team chemistry will be vital to the rest of their season.
Yeah.
But I mean, just in the showing it in the way that second half, that was one of the best halves of football they've played in a long time.
In a while.
And then just to see them loose and excited and happy, traveling back to León, and a good portion of Los Locos de Arriba had made the trip too. And they were all in such good spirits. Everybody was just in such great spirits, and it was a nice thing to see.
Like the title says, guys, a breath of fresh air. That's what
breath, un respirón, not just a respirito, but a respirón. Like, boy, do we need this. Yeah.
We definitely did. So
and you could also see it in the second with Armando León's goal. You saw how you kind of just saw that hermandad. I felt it right there. Like you saw Aquino like all happy with it. Yeah, I'm sorry, Kari, go ahead. I just was thinking about that. Like, it's true. It was a different vibe.
Yeah. I was so scared for Aquino to get red carded after he got his yellow. I was like,
he seemed so mad. Like Aquino, chill. Aquino,
get him out.
That's why I think am I forgetting something, or didn't they took him off? That's why they did, though, right?
Did he
No,
get?
no. He played till the
He
end.
played. Yeah, he played the whole game.
Are you sure?
Yeah, no, he.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Nacho Gonzalez
Yeah.
came
I
up
had
for Campbell.
I
Oh,
had
it was,
suggested.
they were thinking about taking off, but then they decided to take.
Yeah, there was that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a
Well, and
mix up. There was a mix up.
I had suggested bringing Campbell on for him because I didn't feel like the contención was a problem. I felt like we were good on the ball,
Yeah.
and I wanted more attacking. But in the end, I think the substitution, both the starting lineup and the substitution, worked out well. Again, hindsight 2020,
Mhm.
easy to criticize, and then go back and be like, oh, that really worked. But no, I think it was the match was in the substitutions in the lineup, and everything was very well thought out, especially all things considered, with the less than ideal conditions, slippery ball, cold. It wasn't just rainy; it was cold. It was nasty.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
know what you think, but I think that Kota was kind of like uh,
Off.
a victim of the pitch, like how wet it was. Because I think he could have stopped that, but I think el bote and then how wet the cancha was, it kind of played him a bad
yeah.
move
Well,
there.
I was told that their pitch is very good, one of the better draining systems in Liga MX, and it had stopped raining, I'd say, by the 60th minute or so, and so then when the water drained and everything being level, ideal playing conditions came back, then we really started to show who the better
Yes.
team out there was. You know,
That's
I don't think that's a coincidence. I don't want to say that we played poorly because it was raining and then it wasn't raining and we played better, but I do think it was a factor for sure.
Definitely. So I know we're extending past the hour, so we're just gonna quickly jump to our favorite segment, and just to remind you guys, let's try and keep it short because our predictions go on for like 7 minutes, and I cannot cut and edit to post it on Twitter. So, Javier, what time is it?
It's prediction time. Da, 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 da. Prediction time. Lions and podcast. I don't know what I'm doing.
Prediction time. So let's just go ahead and start with you, Javier. Give us your prediction for Saturday's night game against Pumas.
I believe León is going to win, and they're going to have to win considerably. Like, I'm going to go with the 2-0 win, León.
2-0 win, León. Okay.
Wait, hold on. No, I'm playing.
Are you serious?
No. I was actually, but no, they're going to get
mad. Okay, well, Marcelo would be like, really, Javier? Again? Okay, so Javier said León wins 2-0. Jose, what is your prediction?
We definitely need to win, and it's going to be a close game. I think our defense still bad, so I think we're going to let one in, and so I think it's going to be 2-1.
2-1 León. Okay.
Low key, that's what I wanted to say, but whatever. 2-0.
I can't with you. Louis, what is your prediction?
I think the home field is going to matter. I think both teams are coming off very emotional games. Obviously, ours had a more favorable result in the end. Pumas kind of, I mean, they kind of blew it in the end there, despite having played well and having played a very exciting match. I think they're going to come in motivated, but I think so are we, and I think the home field is going to be a big factor. It's been much more of a fortress this season than it has in the past. I think we're going to take it 3-1. I really do. I think it's going to be a 3-1 win for León.
Okay.
And I think we keep all 3 points.
Okay. Louis said 3-1. Carlos, your prediction.
So I think both teams, like Louis said, both teams are motivated. I think Pumas have been one of the big surprises this season. So I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm going to go 3-2 León.
Damn. Okay. 3-2 León. Carlos. Yeah, I think it'll be nice to be back at home, especially after this result. I'm gonna go a little ambitious just because I was surprised with how Leon turned the game around in the second half. So I'm hoping to see kind of the same stuff and say the same things we saw in the second half. Joel Campbell, Yairo. I hope to see Armando Leon, which especially would be amazing if he scored at home. So I'm going to go a little ambitious. I'm going to go with a 3-0 Leon.
Ooh.
Well, we all know how much confidence you have in Pumas, so maybe you're being a little too generous with them,
I
For
don't.
reals.
I thought you was gonna go 4.
I will never bet money on Pumas. Like, I just can't. It's impossible.
I'm definitely not looking forward to seeing all their fans there. I think there's always, whenever Pumas plays here, there's always more Pumas fans than any other team comes. I'm not looking forward to seeing them. They're so annoying. Yeah.
For all the Pumas fans out there, stay away from Louis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna do our best to drown out that insufferable Goya chant.
Oh my
God.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
So there are our predictions for.
We gotta
next
score
month.
early, man. We gotta score early.
Yeah.
We do. We gotta set
And I
the
think
tone
we
for
will
the
this
game,
time.
and I'm
To be honest
hoping.
with you.
Yeah.
We gotta take advantage of their goalkeeper, please.
Yeah.
El Pollo
he
Saliba,
had
man.
a terrible.
Play like you play against America.
Yeah.
They're guys.
Repeat the
they're-
same way. The way you played against America.
We're
Pollo.
playing with 10 men already. We gotta win this.
Yeah.
Oh, dang, Jose. Dang.
Jose.
That one stung. Come on, Jose. Come on.
So there are predictions for Pumas game. You guys are more than welcome to leave your prediction on the live chat. As Carlos said at the beginning, I know Javier and Jose were barely in transition of jumping on, but our William Riaborg is leaving Tamales, so he will be up in Colorado Rapids. So William, if you're listening, we invite you to the pod. Feel free to jump on. Your invitation is out there. So
yeah, come on, Marcelo. You guys are like now in the same city, so make it happen, Marcelo.
So, but yeah, if you guys, anybody who's listening, if you guys want to give us new ideas or anything you guys would like to see on the Lifetime podcast, let us know. Tweet at us, comment. Feel free to let us know what other content you would like to see. Obviously, we have the prediction segment every game, every podcast. We're trying to get some sponsorships for Louis' victory dance, and yeah. I mean, let us know anything that you guys want to see, anything different, anything that we should kind of add to kind of add more fun, more interaction with you guys. Just let us know. We're open-minded. So, but yeah, guys, we're off. Anything you want to say?
Let's go, Leon.
Arriba la fiera.
Yeah.
And let's just hopefully we want. And what else could we say about Leon? We haven't said before, except that we have the whole league to the regular season to look forward to, and hopefully cerramos bien y faith. That's all I could just really add. Keep the faith. What else could we do?
Let's go.
Ya perdimos las peores,
Yes.
En las buenas y en las malas. Anyways.
Sí.
Yeah.
Carlos, Louis, Javier, Jose, thank you guys, and we'll be turning back next Monday night. Hopefully another victory Monday. So, thank you guys for watching, and
I'll be in San Diego by then.
Bye, guys.
Hopefully, I can
And then
find a computer.
in Leon shortly thereafter.
And then eventually in Leon.